All right, you're
All right, the Tuma episode.
good.
Welcome to the Eephus. I'm your host, Justin Ledger. As always, joined by Zach Hummel. Zach, what's happening?
Nothing much, man. We're getting deep into the season here, and things are starting to heat up.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I feel like before we know it, it's going to be the All-Star break. It's kind of
No,
approaching
it's
really,
going quick.
really quickly. We're starting to hear more and more All-Star chatter. For example, I mean, today I was just scrolling through Twitter. I'm seeing a lot of talk about guys like Yonder Alonso is leading Miguel Cabrera in the All-Star race. You got Zach Cozart in the mix. A lot of names that we're not used to seeing in All-Star uniforms. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. I usually fan vote screws those types of things up, but I'm happy that we're going to get some names that aren't really household names getting their shine in the All-Star game.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of new names this year, like Yonder Alonso. I think
He's killing it, though. He's killing it.
having a great season. That's one of the guys where we could have done that segment we did where I asked you what team they're on, and you like.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I wouldn't.
I don't think I would have known that he was on the A's at that
But
point.
that's good. Like him and Kozar, they've actually been in the league a while, sort of figuring it out, and they've finally sort of hit their stride this year. So it's great to see guys like that finally get their due in the All-Star game.
I love it. Great stories for both of those guys. But we're going to talk about our favorite stories from the past week. I'll mention mine first briefly because we're not going to discuss it right now. We're going to discuss it later in the episode. Nolan Arenado hits a walk-off homer to complete the cycle. I mean, if it's anyone else on the Rockies, this is a cool story. But the fact that it's a superstar like Nolan Arenado, like this, if you didn't know about Nolan Arenado before, you know about him now. So that's all I have to say about it right now. Again, we'll get back into it later. What was your favorite story from this past week?
Yeah, I mean that Arenado thing was ridiculous. We'll talk about that more later. But mine is sort of not really about the baseball, but more what's happening on social media. There has been so many clapbacks going back and forth between the A's and the Yankees, particularly during this weekend series. Obviously, the A's swept the Yankees. So the Yankees posted an Instagram photo of Starlin Castro laying on his back. It was pretty slight. No one really knew about it. And then the A's just clap back at him. Like I don't know who's running these accounts. I just picture some like nerd doing it.
Yeah.
But I think like I might have misconstrued that because I think there might actually be some funny people out there like using teams' accounts and running their accounts for them.
It always happens to be the obscure teams too, like the Rockies or the A's. Teams like that, a little bit off the radar that don't get the shine that teams like the Red Sox, Yankees, all those squads get. It seems like it's the obscure teams that really engage on social media. The Mariners and the Astros are two other ones that are all over social, really building up a social presence and being engaging with fans, not afraid to throw slights at other teams. And you know what? In the social media age that we're in right now, I love it. It's perfect for the sport, perfect for a sport that needs to adapt to a younger demographic. So I'm all for it. The Rockies actually had a slight, I forget exactly what they did, but they did something on Instagram as well this past week. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. It was actually MLB posted a picture of Samardzija going yard, and the Rockies were like, he gave up 8 earned runs.
yeah. That was perfect. Because that's like something we would say on this podcast. Like, Samardzija's a dud of the week. Like, he let up 8 home runs. I don't care if he hit a home run or whatever he did. Like, he let up 8 home runs. 8 earned runs. He was terrible. So I'm glad the Rockies put them in their place. Shout out to the Rockies Twitter account, too, by the way, for liking our tweet. That was nice. Throw us an RT next time. For just one time. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, we're the biggest Rocky guys. And to finish up the Oakland story, after they swept the Yankees on Sunday, they posted on their Instagram just a picture of a broom. And they said, have a safe flight home at Yankees. So there's more where that came from, I think, next time the two teams play.
Yeah, I love it. Again, I can't get enough of that. I hope other teams start doing it too, because again, it seems like it's a small group of teams right now doing it. You don't see the Red Sox account really engaging in any Twitter wars, Instagram wars. So I want to see more of that. Speaking of the Red Sox, of course, this happened like last week. It's been a little bit since this occurred, but Chris Sale, that game where he just didn't get any run support at all, and he was like the only one who got a hit on the Red Sox, a notable hit. It was a double. To say the least, that might have been the most pathetic performance by the Red Sox all season, by a long shot. I mean, Chris Sale he struggled in the run support category early in the year. Run support's gotten a little bit better, but that outing was terrible. I mean, terrible by the Red Sox. It was terrible to watch from a fan standpoint. Chris Sale was awesome, but it was terrible to see the offense just sputter like that.
Yeah, it seems like the whole season it's been like that when Sale pitches. He pitches amazing, giving up like 1 or 2 runs, and the Red Sox can't even muster like 1 run to like at least keep him in the game. Obviously, this game versus the Phillies, he did give up a couple more runs, but the Phillies are terrible. I forgot who was pitching for them, but it's probably someone terrible.
It was a no-name.
Yeah, just a no-name guy. It's like I feel like when Sale's on the mound, the Red Sox almost like let out a breath, and you can never really do that in MLB. You got to have your foot on the pedal, always trying to just score, work the counts. When they have Sale on the mound, they're like, all right, we could probably put up 2 tonight and win. When your mindset has to be, we have to put up 7 to 10 runs a night, no matter who's pitching.
Yeah, they need to get in that mindset. I do think it's a lot of like psychology going into it, kind of like what you implied right there with when you head into the game, you're like, oh, we got our ace on the mound. We can kind of rest a little bit. But when they need to look at it the other way, they need guys like Pedroia to really step up in that clubhouse and be like, look, I don't give a shit if Nolan Ryan's on the mound right now. We're scoring 10 runs tonight. They need to have that attitude every single night. I'm looking at a game log, Chris Sale's game-by-game stats, which shows the scores of each game that he's pitched in. Beginning April was when it was really bad. It's actually gotten a lot better since then, run support-wise. I'm looking at April, for example, the Red Sox scored 3, 2, 2, 4, 3. Those are the total runs scored in each game in April that Chris Sale pitched, which is atrocious. It got a little bit better in May. It was 5. Then they scored 17 runs against the Twins in a Sale start. Then 6, 3, 9, 13. So May was a little bit better. Even June, even this month was a little bit better, 7, 11. But then they had that that game when they just got shut out. So pretty pathetic outing by the Red Sox. Hopefully it was just an anomaly and they can start scoring runs when this guy takes them out.
Yeah, I mean, Sale, like, what went under the radar in that game is like he was raking. He had the opposite field double. He's got a nice little swing. Like if we need a pinch hitter, like later on in the playoffs, maybe I
gotta be pretty desperate at that point. But I feel more comfortable now
with him and Pablo Sandoval. I might take Sale over Sandoval.
That would be. Imagine Sandoval's reaction when he finds out that he's not being pinch hit. It's Chris Sale coming in. The place would be like so confused. But you know what? At this point, just let it happen. So yeah, I don't think the Red Sox are in too much trouble, by the way, in the offense category. I think they're going to really start putting things together. They're too talented not to. So we'll see how things go there. We'll shift gears here to little outside the box topic. The 3, I guess you could say best, maybe weirdest, obscure, whatever word you want to use here. Team names in the MLB. We each picked 3. I'm going to let you go first for this one. What are the 3 team names you picked for this segment?
Yeah, we discussed this team a little bit earlier, and this team, I looked at their Instagram account. They're actually having JaVale McGee throw out the first pitch tonight, so maybe keep an eye on that because who knows how his arm is.
Yeah.
The Athletics.
Okay, I had them too.
Yeah, I just don't even know what that name is. Like, I think that their mascot looks like it has an elephant on a ball, so I'm guessing it has something to do with the circus, but it literally just describes, like, an athlete. Like,
yeah, right? So, not creative.
You're doing athletics, okay?
This is, before we recorded, we briefly discussed this, and, the Athletics are the team that they just need to change their team name to the A's. They need to permanently be the A's. They need to get rid of the Athletics thing because I've never understood that name. I remember being like 7 years old and I played for the Athletics for Little League. And I'm like, what is this team? What does this mean? It means I'm athletic. Like, what does that mean? So yeah, Athletics were on my list too.
Yeah. Just pick an animal or like a weather thing. Just be simple with it. Don't try to, be too abstract.
So stupid.
My second one was the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like,
okay,
Pittsburgh's a landlocked like city. I don't know where they get this pirate thing from. It's not even like located near the Caribbean where pirates were located. It's literally in the middle of bumfuck Pennsylvania. They do fit. That city does fit like the pirate mold. It's a lot of like grimy, like blue collar people, but
Right.
I just don't get it for that city based on the name. I think they just picked out of a hat.
It's the alliteration. That's all. They were like, what do we do for a team name? Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh, that's good. That's perfect. That's how they picked this name, 100%.
And then they signed John Jaso, and it was perfect because he's the pirate.
Well, yeah, that made it all work. That made it all make sense. All right, third team.
My last one, Kansas City Royals. I've never heard anyone say anything royal about Kansas City. It's pretty much in the middle of the country. It's probably the opposite of royalty in the U.S., so I just don't really get that name. I do like their color scheme, but there's nothing royal about Kansas City.
I couldn't agree more. It's like the more you think into it, it's just a weird name, especially for just any sports team. The Royals. It's just a weird name. It just, when I think Royals, I think like sophisticated, like just Royals, the old medieval days. And then you have just this baseball team coming out here, like Eric Hosmer is just wearing a crown on his like chest. So it's a strange name when you really think about it. I do agree with the color scheme though.
It's like a croquet team name more than
name. Yeah, exactly. Or like polo or something.
Polo, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll name mine now. I already had the A's, so I have two more. The Diamondbacks. It's just a snake, I guess. And I guess it makes sense. Like, it's in Arizona. Cool. Like, I get it. There's snakes there, desert, whatever. But, like, the Diamondbacks, I don't know. Why do you choose that? You get to choose. Are there a lot? Is Diamondback like a specific type of snake, or is it like a slang for a snake? I don't really know what it is. Someone can educate me on that. I'm not really like a snake expert by any means, but I chose the Diamondbacks because that's just a unique team name. That's all. And then my second one, I guess my third one, because I already said the A's, is the Padres. Why are we talking in Spanish all of a sudden? I get you're in San Diego. Cool. Like, yeah, you're right next to Mexico, but you're still in the U.S. Like, I don't know. And you're the Dads. You're the San Diego Dads. That's just the weird part. You can use any Spanish word you want if you're going to speak in Spanish, and you chose the Dads. So that's always been a weird one for me.
Yeah, I can't. Now that I think about it, there's a team name in the U.S. sport with a Mexican name.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's San Diego. It's like the culture is a little bit like Mexican.
I get it. It's just like,
just why?
In Trump's America, I don't know if that stands.
It doesn't. Texas is near Mexico too, right? I don't see them having Mexican names, so whatever. Exactly. I don't know. I don't get how that works. Okay, so we'll move on here to kind of the same idea here with names, but we're going to move on to nicknames because MLB announced that they're going to start allowing, or I shouldn't say start allowing, but do you remember the weekend that they're doing this? They're putting nicknames on the back of jerseys.
No, but I did see that they were doing it. It's like the XFL almost. It reminded me of like the XFL.
Right. It's just like that, where a player can choose what nickname they want on the back of their jersey. I wish MLB let them do whatever they want, so that someone could just put like "fuck" on the back. That'd be fucking hilarious. But that's not gonna happen. So you got to keep it family friendly. But anyways, that's happening upcoming weekend. Don't know exactly yet. Someone can do a quick Google search to figure that out. But kind of cool, kind of corny. I'm sort of in the middle with it. I don't get really the point. If you're trying to make your game appeal to a younger audience, I don't think this is what's going to do it. But whatever. MLB, it's outside the box, so it's cool. I guess it's all right.
Yeah, they're calling it Players Weekend, so I would Players Weekend. So I think like
I changed my mind. I'm out on this.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen on Players Weekend? It could just be a free for all. Like everyone goes to the club and whatnot. But it's August 25th to the 27th, so they'll have nicknames on their jerseys. It should be a fun weekend. You know, the players just have. It says no boundaries, so there's no boundaries.
No boundaries. All right. I'm interested in I know obviously you're gonna see Pablo Sandoval is gonna have Panda. You got guys with set nicknames, but I'm curious what guys I don't know. I'm trying to think. Josh Donaldson's gonna have something along the lines of Bringer of Rain or something. I'm trying to think of guys who are really popular but just don't have a nickname. Does Arenado have a nickname?
No. So
I'd be interested to see what he has or other superstars who don't really have anything, like Chris Bryant, Manny Machado, those type of guys.
Yeah,
I just named 3 third basemen, but whatever.
Yeah. What would your nickname be?
So let's go over that. My nickname, I think I would have to do it for the team here. And I don't mean the baseball team. I mean the real team. I think I'd have to put the ledge on the back of the jersey.
Yeah,
I think I just have to do it. Yeah, it's promo.
Theledge.com. Like, have the link.
The URL.
Yeah.
I'll have the http:// www.theledgesports.com. That's going to be on the back of my jersey.
I bet that's what guys are going to do. They're going to like plug it's going to be like their Twitter name or like their Instagram.
I can see that. A lot of Twitter handles, a lot of charities, a lot of Instagrams. If you're like a good-looking athlete, you have to put your Instagram on the back. If you're a single good-looking athlete, you got to throw the Instagram thing.
Yeah, like Kevin Kiermaier. Throw your Instagram on the back.
I'm like 90% sure he's married, but even if you look like that, you still put the Instagram on the back.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what my name would be. I might just put Pete Wheeler just for like a redhead. Like
I like it.
Pete Wheeler or Big Red. That's what my nicknames would be. Or I could do the Ledge Sports too and get if we got Trevor Story to do the Ledge Sports for his name, that would be unreal.
Traffic would be up that weekend. I'll tell you that one twice. So yeah, speaking of Pete Wheeler, we're going to be talking a lot about Pete Wheeler, I think, later on. But that's a little tease for later in this episode. So unfortunately, again, we got to talk about injuries. Got a couple notable ones here. Matt Harvey, I mean, it's kind of the same old story with him. He can't really get it figured out. Having shoulder issues. I think he played with a broken bone in his shoulder. Not a good thing if you're a pitcher. Probably not ideal to be pitching with a broken bone in your shoulder. Seems pretty important. So yeah, Matt Harvey just further continuing the mess that the Mets are this year.
Yeah, Harvey goes down. Syndergaard's been down. I'm like starting to think if this wild card is almost out of reach for them, they should maybe just like sit these guys down and not let them get more hurt and just play the season out with who they have. Just kind of raise a white flag and just try to do it next year with all the injuries they've had. But yeah, Harvey is just like a glass case. A guy gets injured all the time, and it's different things too.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for him because the talent's always been there. It's just these off the field things, and then it's injuries that kind of just they pile on. The talent's there. Like I said, he should be throwing like 96, 97, but at his last start, he was throwing 91, and everyone knew something was off. And it turns out broken bone in the shoulder. So he's on the DL. Excuse me, he's on the DL, and so we'll see how that goes from there. Another guy who got placed on he's been on the 60-day DL, but he was supposed to come back, and turns out he's not coming back. Is Tyler Thornburg. We mentioned him a couple episodes ago. We talked about him a little bit with Karavis when we had him on a past episode. Thornburg, I think he had a nerve thing going on in his shoulder. He's getting, what the hell is the surgery called? It's like ocular, not ocular because that's eyes, but it's like some weird name for a surgery. Coincidentally, Harvey's had this surgery before.
He's had every surgery.
Right. So I forget the name of it. That's going to bug me. I'm not going to find out to the end. But either way, it's not a good sign for Thornburg. He will not be back until sometime in the 2018 season. Just a frustrating situation for the Red Sox and their fans, the fact that they gave up Travis Shaw for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Shaw has been unreal for the Brewers. He's been really a linchpin in the middle of their order, and Thornburg hasn't even thrown a pitch for the team. And you compound that with Carson Smith, too. Dombrowski, his bullpen moves have really backfired in terms of those guys it's not even that they're not good. We haven't even seen them pitch. So
right.
Even a more concern, I think, at that point.
I'm really interested to see how Carson Smith does when he comes back. If he gets placed on long-term DL, then all hell is going to break loose because those two guys were they were supposed to be the guys outside of Kimbrel in that bullpen. So we'll see what happens there. Just not encouraging if you were hoping for Thornburg to come back this season because he is not. A couple more injuries here. Bronson Arroyo's career might be done. I think he's also having shoulder issues. A lot of shoulder injuries on this episode today. But Arroyo, a guy that he made our Don't Call It a Comeback a few weeks ago. I think he spent 2 years outside the majors before he made a comeback this season for the Reds. So kind of sad. I mean, we grew up watching Arroyo play for the Red Sox, help the Red Sox to the 2004 World Series. So, yeah, Bronson Arroyo might be done.
Yeah, definitely sad to see. As we said, I think when we had him as Don't Call It a Comeback, like no one really knew that he was coming back, and he just
Right. No, I had no idea.
I mean, I watched a couple of his games, and he needs to retire. He's throwing absolute beach balls. It's almost like sad. It's almost like Jared Weaver bad. And
Jared Weaver's been like 10 times better than Arroyo this year, which is saying something.
Yeah, they both just throw like 75-mile-an-hour curveballs that guys are just crushing. So I think they both should retire, but it's sad to see, someone that I don't know why he's still playing. Maybe he loves it. Maybe he needs the money. But either way, it's sad to see a guy like that sort of deteriorate so quickly.
He had a very underrated career, I would say. I mean, he was never going to win a Cy Young or anything like that. He was never that good. But I will always remember how good he was at the plate a few years back. He was one of the better hitting pitchers in the game back, like probably 5-10 years ago. And then you also had, Arroyo from 2005 to 2010 was pretty solid, like very solid. Never, like I said, he was never going to be a star, but he was always a consistent number 3 guy, you could say, on a decent team, on an MLB team. So best wishes to Arroyo. Hopefully that injury heals. Hopefully he makes a comeback. But, well, I mean, he showed it. He could do it once. Maybe he'll do it twice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just remember it was like he's just a solid 3 starter. Like you could rely on him to take the ball. He just eat up innings. That's kind of his legacy. It's not great, but it's not terrible at the same time.
Yeah, I think his final win-loss record's somewhere around 170 and 140, which sounds about right for Arroyo.
Exactly.
Lastly, an injury that was announced today, Yankees top prospect Gleyber Torres, I think he's getting Tommy John surgery. Just didn't see that coming at all. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of chatter about him eventually replacing Headley on that Yankees team this season, probably second half of the season, but that's not happening. He won't be back till 2018. Tommy John for an infielder is very strange, but that's what's going on. So,
yeah, that's like a red flag to me if an infielder is getting Tommy John. I mean, I don't know his background at all, but yeah, he's like the top guy for the Yankees. I think he's the top prospect in baseball, or like top 3.
He's
so
absolutely up there. I could be wrong about this. Is he the guy that the Cubs shipped to New York?
Yeah, he was like the Cubs shortstop, like second baseman prospect that he's can't miss. And like you said, I'm sure he would have got called up if not like in a couple weeks at least at like the September call up. So I guess we won't be seeing him this year. And as a Red Sox fan, I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, no, if looking from a fan standpoint, it's awesome. But looking as like a baseball fan standpoint, it's like this kind of sucks because I wanted to see him play. Like I want to compete against him. I don't want to see him hurt. So, another thing I'm going to miss is those Aaron Judge photos, like standing next to him. Aaron Judge is like almost 7 feet, and Torres I think is 5'6". He looks like a jockey out there, so it's pretty funny to see that. So won't see any of that until next season. Guy we did see again pop up is Tim Tebow. Haven't heard from him in a while. Pops right back into the news by letting go of his bat on a swing. It happens to major leaguers. I mean, I'm not going to say it never happens to the best. Tebow struck out in the at-bat, so not the best look. He swung and missed. Bat goes flying, strikes out. He's hitting 220. So for a guy in single A who probably shouldn't be playing baseball in the first place doing that, I mean, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't heard a lot from Tebow, which to me, that's a bad thing just because if he was doing well, we'd be hearing about it nonstop. So when we don't hear from him in like 2 weeks, things like this start popping up. Like he let go of a bat and it flew into the stands and then he struck out. Like that's kind of what I expect happening every game he plays in. Like just kind of embarrassing things for him.
Yeah, there really isn't much else to say about that except I thought he was supposed to be promoted to Double-A a while ago. There was that report that the Mets were strongly considering promoting him to Double-A because he went on a tear for a little while. And
like the majors, even like people were like he might make it to the majors. Like, what?
I don't know. Like that came out of nowhere, and then it died down, and now he's hitting 220, letting go of bats that fly into the stands. So I don't know. Tebow's a total wild card. Next time we talk about him, he might be hitting 300 and on his way to AAA. So who the fuck knows with this guy? Yeah. So that's Tim Tebow. Now I'll edit here, and then I'm gonna get fucking Tuma on, I guess.
I mean, might as well.
I'm like a little nervous. Hold on.
He's probably a normal guy.
No, yeah, I'm playing it up a little bit. All right.
Have we prepped him at all, or he's coming in like
he knows Rockies talk? That's like it.
He's gonna have like all these stats and shit laid out.
Yeah. I hope that link works. Yeah, imagine he has like sabermetrics in front of him and shit.
You're on the wrong podcast, Tuma.
I need to go to Twitter.
You sent it to him?
Yeah, the anticipation's killing me right now.
Tuma.
Come on, man. Don't let me down.
Did you tell him a time?
Yeah.
Should be good then. We almost have to like pre-record Tuma's thing. Anytime something in the Rockies happens, just have him record like about it for like 10 minutes.
Instant reaction.
Yeah. Instant video reaction. I sent him that like video thing that like I get the videos off of, and he's like, "Oh, cool, yeah. I'll check it out over this weekend."
Think he needs to study.
You can just click the link, dude.
Fuck, man. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Dr. Tom got engaged.
Oh God.
He got engaged like 2 days ago.
I could tell he was like a married guy. Like he seems very
he's like that. Yeah. Tuma,
what's going on, man?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Can you hear us?
Pretty good, dude.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I got this brand new mic.
Jeez, he's got the setup.
I like it.
So ordered the first thing I could find off Amazon.
Good shit.
Awesome.
Good shit.
So you guys talking Rockies or what?
Yeah. We're not like recording. This part's gonna be edited out, so I'm just gonna kind of tell you like what we're like. We're just introing you pretty much. Then, so we noticed on your Twitter you got a lot of backyard baseball shit going on. So we're gonna talk a little bit of backyard baseball, and then we're gonna talk Rockies after that. Basically, Trevor Story, Arenado walk off, and then you can head off right after that. It's gonna be somewhat quick, but should be a solid discussion.
Okay.
Your name's Brendan, right?
Yep.
Your name's Brendan? Brendan Tuma. Got it. All right. And then feel free to like plug whatever when you're like introducing yourself too. Like you could talk about your blog and all that shit, like if you want.
Okay, cool.
All right. Okay, so we have Brendan Tuma on. First off, Brendan, what's going on? How are you?
Pretty good, guys. How are you?
Not too bad. So we're happy to have you on. I mean, you seem like we're a new podcast. You seem like you were our first like real fan. You retweet a lot of the shit we do. We appreciate that. You tweet at us when we post Rockies content. You're enthusiastic about the Rockies with us. So we were like, you know what? He fits this podcast well. We're going to have him on as a third guy today. So again, thank you for coming on. So Tuma, for the people who don't know you very well out there, why don't you intro yourself a little bit? Give the people a little about me, about everything Brennan Tuma.
Okay, yeah. So you guys are Boston. You guys are Boston guys, right?
Yes.
So you're in.
Well, Zach's from Connecticut. I'm from right outside of Boston.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, I'm a fan of Barstool, as I'm sure you guys are too. First found you. You had Carabas on, one of your early podcasts. I'm at a job right now where I just listen to a bunch of podcasts all day. So I saw Jared retweeted you guys when he came on, and I checked it out. And you guys, it was good content, and you guys were similar ages, similar interests. So started following you guys on Twitter. You followed me back. And we just happen to have a mutual love of the Rockies, I guess, this year.
I love it. That's what I like to hear. That's like what we're trying to do is kind of, I mean, we have this identity as these guys who like, we talk about, I mean, we're Red Sox guys through and through, don't get me wrong, but we want to be covering all the MLB. We cover the teams that don't get the coverage that they should. The Rockies are starting to, thankfully.
Yeah,
they're just killing it right now. But before they did this, it was the offseason, and the Rockies were, they were supposed to be better, but they were not on the radar at all. So we wanted to be those guys to kind of cover these teams that deserve the attention that they're not getting. And we're glad that you're doing the same thing. So, Tuma, what you write, you have a blog, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, I just started about like a year and a half ago. I always loved baseball, huge fan, like everything, baseball, video games, cards, movies, everything growing up. So one day I just decided to start blogging it. It kind of evolved as a blog spot, bought my own domain. I kind of go by my Twitter. It's called Too Much Tuma.
I was going to get to that, the Too Much Tuma. I like the name.
Yeah, it's kind of a play off. I don't know if you ever see like the Kroll show. They do this sketch, Too Much Tuna. So just kind of play off my last name like that.
Can never have too much Tuma. Can never have.
So yeah, and so I just started the blog. It's toomuchtuma.com. Similar to what you guys are doing. I just, anything interesting happening in baseball, try to give a unique take on it, I guess.
I like it. What's your favorite thing to write about on that blog?
Oh, geez.
What's your favorite topic?
Yeah, no, I do a lot of, I'm big into talking. I always love having the conversation of like, if all of MLB had a redraft, who would be like the number one pick? So I'm always talking about that with my friends. Mike Trout's kind of ruined that argument the past few years because it's just such an obvious answer. So it's pretty much to me now, it's who would you take with number 2 pick? And every few months, I'll update that blog or write a new one. And it's funny how much it changes.
Right. Who's your number 2 pick right now?
I think there's such a good case for number 2 right now for so many guys. As Boston fans, got to lean Mookie. But, if anyone said Brian or Harper or Arenado, who we'll talk about in a few minutes, I'm sure, you can't go wrong there.
What about Kershaw?
Yeah, so that's a big debate I always talk about. I always say, you can't take a pitcher too early.
Right.
I think the Mets are a case of why you don't want to build around pitching, but
very true. Very good point.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about picks here. I want to get into your love for backyard baseball. For anyone who wants to follow Tuma on Twitter, you can do that. Like he just said, it's Too Much Tuma, at Too Much Tuma, Tuma. So Tuma, first off, I want to know, you got the cover photo you got going on. You got the profile picture. You got the pinned tweet with backyard baseball. Is this sort of like the image you're going? Like, what exactly? Why do you have all of this backyard baseball? It's the second you go to your page, it's all backyard baseball. So I know there's got to be some sort of reason behind it. So I'm interested to know what that reason is.
Yeah. So how old are you guys?
So I'm 23.
Okay.
I'm 24. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm 24, so we're the same age. I don't know if you guys grew up playing it, but that was just my shit as a kid.
Of course.
just every day playing it growing up. And when I first started the blog and the Twitter handle, I was somewhat anonymous. I didn't use my own name, obviously, or whatever. So I needed a picture. I don't know. Pablo Sanchez is such a classic. If anyone follows me and if they know who Pablo, if they're looking to follow me and they see the Pablo Sanchez pick, they kind of just get what I'm about. There's this new wave of bloggers and whatnot coming in. I think Barstool's got a lot to do with that. We're both trying to do similar things. You guys are just kind of started this podcast out of the blue. I start blogging out of the blue. There's probably tons of others trying to do what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know, the Pablo Sanchez, the backyard baseball kind of hints to a bit of a younger audience is my guess. So I never really put too much thought into it, I guess, but.
I mean, it's pretty much what I expected. I figured that's what you were going for, is that image, kind of aiming for our age group, because we can all relate to the backyard baseball days. Yeah. Pablo Sanchez. If you don't know Pablo Sanchez, when you see him, I probably don't want to be like friends with you, because you're not going to relate to anything that I'm about. So, I mean, Pablo Sanchez is the #1 pick. I know that for a fact. He's going to be on your backyard baseball team. Give me the rest. You don't have to do it in order. That's optional. Give me your backyard baseball starting lineup.
That's funny. There's some people, like, I've read like articles online, like they go real hardcore, and there's some like Pablo Sanchez anti-truthers out there. Like, they say he's not even. Like, some guys will argue that Pete Wheeler is actually better because you can like bunt and just get to third base with him.
That's not a bad take. I was a big Pete Wheeler guy. So I mean, Pete Wheeler was kind of, I liked Pablo Sanchez could hit bombs. Pete Wheeler was the catalyst. So
as a redhead too, like, I love Pete Wheeler because he was like, oh, he's an athletic red-haired kid. Like, growing up, I was like, there's not many of those, so it's good that we had Pete Wheeler there.
Pete Wheeler is just like the prototypical leadoff hitter. Like, if you were starting a baseball team and you wanted a leadoff hitter, I just don't see, like, Pete Wheeler. He was obviously the fastest guy in the game, and he had some surprising power too.
He did. He could hit some home runs. Yeah.
I think probably. My favorite guy besides those is probably Ahmed Khan. That dude is so underrated. He wore Beats by Dre before they were cool. And he hits the farthest homers. When you have an open stance with him and you get an inside pitch, that thing's gone.
That is very true. Who else you got in that lineup? That's a good lineup so far. You got Wheeler, Khan, Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, I typically went mostly with the backyard kids. I went with Ahmed's brother. They would get like power-ups if you had both of them in the same lineup.
Good team chemistry. Got brothers on the team.
Got to go with Mikey Thomas, left-handed power.
I was a Keisha Phillips guy.
Yeah, I had a few girls. I had Steph Morgan. I always thought was just a pure shortstop, just so athletic. Middle infield. I don't know why. She just struck me as that.
I like it. So those are your like backyard baseball kids. So when you went into what year do you think backyard baseball was most prominent for you?
If you don't say 2001, then
okay. I was hoping you'd go early 2000s with that. So from that game, you can pick 3 players, real life players, to be on your team. Oh. Who are they?
No, that's funny. I wrote this blog probably a couple months ago, and it was like what player would represent a team in a backyard baseball 2017, and I went through and like tried to give reasonings because there was always like these like weird rules. Like, each year, backyard baseball 2001 and 2003, they each had like just 2 pitchers, and there was always one team that like randomly had 2 players. Like in 2001, like both Barry Larkin and Ken Griffey are from the Reds in it, which I just always found that kind of funny. But yeah, so I always think about like modern day, like who they would have picked for the games. But I don't know. Sammy Sosa's stance.
Oh yeah, Sosa. Yeah,
this was nice. Griffey, because he would wear the backwards hat going up to the plate.
That's a given. Griffey is like the wild. That you can just put him in any game.
Yeah. It's funny, like Bonds in that game. It's 2001, which is his 73 homer season.
Yeah.
And he has like 10 speed in it, and he doesn't even have like 10 power.
Yeah, I didn't like him. I sneaky didn't like Barry Bonds in that game.
His stance wasn't great in it either. So Sosa and Griffey definitely 1-2, and then growing up, I probably picked Nomar the most.
All right, that's a great pick. Nomar is the classic backyard baseball pick.
Yeah,
can't really beat that.
Nice, isn't it?
I like it. So that's backyard. That's our first ever backyard baseball segment on this podcast. I'm happy that happened.
Yeah.
So anytime we talk backyard baseball, we're going to be sure to have you back on the podcast. But we're going to move on here to a team that we've talked about a ton. We just mentioned them a little bit. The Colorado Rockies. They're rolling right now, leading the NL West. I mean, I don't want to say that I expected them to lead the NL West, but me and Zach both have been on the Rockies bandwagon since the season began. Yesterday, that game with Arenado walking it off like that to complete the cycle, it doesn't get much better than that.
I finished up like my Father's Day festivities, whatnot. I got home to my apartment. My roommate and I turned on MLB Network, watching the end of that game. I actually have Mark Melancon in like this really important fantasy league, and I see just this inning unraveling. And I'm sure a lot of people
He's a
said
dog.
it. I said to my roommate right away, I go, Arenado's gonna hit a walk-off home to complete the cycle. And
Oh my God!
Blanton threw a cutter that just didn't cut. And I'm sure you've seen the pitch, like the Rockies account tweeted out after, like Arenado, he looks like he just fought in like the Spartan War.
Awesome picture of Arenado there.
Who is Zach? That's the Trevor Story truther, right?
Yeah, so I was going to get into Trevor Story here. Zach is probably, I mean, he was on the Trevor Story bandwagon. I feel like before he was even on a tear last season. I remember a specific podcast last year when, I mean, Story obviously was a rookie last season.
Yep.
Story went on that tear in April where he was the guy. I mean, he was the guy everyone had eyes on. He was hitting bombs. Seemed like he was hitting 2 bombs a game.
Yeah, he was like Eric Thames of 2016.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, actually. And Zach, it seemed like, was on top of it from the very beginning. So this has kind of been a running joke throughout the podcast. Trevor Story, we want a little Trevor Story update, Zach. So why don't you give us that?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not hitting as well as he did last year. He's hitting just above 200. The power's starting to come back once the weather starts heating up in Colorado. Obviously, it's cold out there. You know, Story starts heating up, but his defense, I mean, maybe defensively, he's a top 5 shortstop in the league. They turned a double play over the weekend. I think when Chatwood was pitching, that was unbelievable. Like him and LeMahieu up the middle. They're both big guys too, but they make it look so easy.
Yeah, 2 defensive gems by Story this past week. He also had that diving catch when he was running backwards and lays out for it, just completely lays out for it, and somehow makes this unreal catch. I thought Story got hurt again on that play, and I almost shot you a message being like, oh my God, not again. But he was okay. And then, like you said, he makes that defensive gem, that double play with LeMahieu, which was outstanding. So that was on the defensive end. He's kind of heating up offensively too. So keep an eye out for him offensively. If he gets on a tear, then we know what Story is capable of. Tuma, what do you got on Story?
Well, first of all, you guys know those tweets, like every once in a while, people like ask the question, would like Alabama beat the Cleveland Browns, or would like Kentucky beat the Philadelphia 76ers or whatnot? One of the funniest tweets I ever saw when Story was in like the middle of that hot streak last year. I saw a tweet. It was like, would Trevor Story beat the Sixers? I don't know. That's the first thing I think of whenever I think about Trevor Story.
Well, that's how good he was. That's how good he was. He was a trending topic, and he was on the Rockies. So you can make the argument that Trevor Story was the beginning of the Rockies being put on the map these past couple of years.
Oh, for sure. And it's funny. I'm glad you brought up the defense point, because I think there's like people now, like you said, are starting to catch on to the Rockies. And even now, though, I think there's a misconception about them. People, I still think this is the same team that's just like slugging their way into first place, just hitting homers. And they're really doing it with their defense is much improved, and they're doing it with the bullpen.
Yeah. Greg Holland. Greg Holland is the second, third best reliever in the major leagues right now, behind probably Kimbrel and Jansen. Holland's right there with them, which I don't know if anyone really expected him to be this good.
Yeah, the kind of the way I fell into this Rockies love this year is in that fantasy league I was talking about. I needed a closer. This was back in the spring. We didn't know if Holland or Ottaviano was got to get the saves, because Holland just hadn't pitched in a long time. So I drafted both of them, and during April they were just It's a league with holds too. So Ottaviano and Holland were just killing it, and that's when I kind of like noticed that, wow, like the Rockies are doing it with a great bullpen. And like since then, I don't know if you guys like read Fangraphs or whatnot, but like Fangraphs coming out with like a lot of stats, and like the advanced analytics really back up what the Rockies are doing. Again, with like it's like the pitching and defense, though they're doing it differently.
Yeah, that Rocky starting rotation too is full of rookies who are getting it done somehow. I don't know how long they're going to be able to do it for. I don't know if they can go well above 200 innings pitched like they're going to need them to do. That right now is probably my biggest worry for this Rockies team, just because it's new arms who aren't used to going full 162-game seasons. But the way things have gone this season so far, I don't see how you can say anything negative about the Rockies right now. They're firing on all cylinders. I'm trying to think of who else on that team has been kind of a surprise. A name that kind of fell off is David Dahl. David Dahl was supposed to be on this team and be like a breakthrough rookie for them this season. Actually, was this year his rookie season or was last year?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he might have played a little bit last year, and then but he might not have like met the minimum at bat requirement or something like that.
Yeah, I think he technically would have been a rookie this year because I know he got playing time last season, but he would have been classified as a rookie. And a lot had him pegged as an NL Rookie of the Year candidate, I think.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Dahl hasn't gotten the chance to come back. But if he comes back, I don't know where they put him.
Yeah, like the outfield stacked. The guy I love that I think deserves more recognition too is Charlie Blackmon.
Oh my God, yeah, Chuck Nasty with that beard.
Yeah, that's his Twitter handle, I think.
Yeah.
When Mike Trout went out, ESPN ran an article and it was like Charlie Blackmon's now the best center fielder in baseball, and they made like a great case for him. And I ended up writing about him. I did a little research into him, and I called him like the most. I think I called him baseball's best kept secret.
I like that.
And he's like the type guy that like anyone would want to have on a team. Like he's gritty. He plays defense. He hits a lot of homers, but he also can steal base. He'll hit doubles. He'll hit in the gap. He's like great for clubhouse chemistry. He seems like one of those guys that like would have fit on like the 2013 Red Sox type thing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Here's the thing with the Rockies. Last season, or 2 seasons ago, or 2 or 3, whenever Arenado really burst on the scene, I'm one of those guys who's like, oh, I loved Arenado before he was cool. Like that type of thing, because I had MLB TV, so I caught every Rockies game. And this is back when Vine existed. So I had a Vine account, and I would Vine every single web gem that Arenado made. And it was like my thing. It got to the point where Arenado would have these web gems, and I'm like, people need to start paying more attention to this guy. And I was doing that because of his defense. Then I went on Baseball Reference and looked up his offensive numbers, and I was stunned. I'm like, this guy needs to be talked about more. Now I look at MLB Network today, and they're having a conversation. Eric Burns is acting like he's known all along that he's like one of the best players in the league. He goes, there was on the bottom of the screen, there was a graphic that said, is Nolan Arenado the best player in the National League? And I got so mad because 2 years ago, I wrote an article about how he should be in the MVP conversation with Bryce Harper. And now we're having this conversation. Yeah. That's my Arenado rant. But then but it's the same thing for Zach and Trevor Story. Zach was all on the Trevor Story hype bandwagon. We were talking about the Rockies nonstop. And then suddenly, like now people are talking about him. The Eephus, people need to half-tip the Eephus. We've been talking about this shit for years.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's like you're glad the team is getting recognized because you've been following them so long, but it's like when you're with a company at the beginning and then it turns into like a Fortune 500 company.
Oh my God.
And publicity. You're like, we've been on them for a while now, and now it's all coming to fruition, and you're like glad they've grown up and everyone knows about them. But it's like, I knew the Rockies when they were shitty. Like I was on them when they were bad.
Yeah, it was Blackmon now too. We talked about Blackmon last season, like, oh, this guy's really fucking good. We keep an eye on Blackmon. And now this year he's like an NL MVP candidate. It drives me insane, but I love seeing the Rockies succeed at the same time. So I guess it evens out a little bit.
Yeah, the only other thing I'll add to that is I don't know if you've seen. I saw MLB.com was doing today the schedule this week. I think they're off tonight, and then they play the Diamondbacks for 3 games at home, and after that they go to LA for 3 games. So that NL West, which is loaded, those 3 teams. The Astros have the best record, and it's those 3 teams have the next 3 best records in baseball, and they all play each other this week. So there's going to be a lot of stories on the NL West, I feel like, coming up.
I'm really excited for what's about to go down in the second half of the season. I'm interested if the Rockies can keep it up. I'm interested to see if all these, like the Astros, teams like that can keep it up, because once we start rolling into the postseason, the field as it currently stands, if this is the field we're going to see in the postseason, we're in for a fucking ride. It's going to be awesome.
That'd be good.
So, yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote for this segment. I mean, actually, I wanted to do one more thing. Earlier in the podcast, me and Zach named our 3, I get weirdest, we just said weirdest, kind of a broad term, but weirdest team names in the major leagues. If you can name 3 just team names where you're like, why are they named that? Or just, you know, it's just a unique or obscure name. Go. What are your 3 team names where you think that?
Oh, geez. First one that comes to mind, this is probably like just because it's talked about so much, is the Indians. I try to call them the Tribe as much as possible, though.
Offend anybody, yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's a cool name, too, like the Tribe.
Right, yeah, no, it should be the Tribe. The
one of my
Tribe.
good friends is an Indians fan, and when they made the World Series last year and stuff, he just always calls them Tribe. Yeah,
We'll
because
try
that's
it.
funny though, because like some teams like their names that for a reason.
Yeah.
Like for like Dallas Cowboys, I guess they play in Texas or whatnot.
I'll give you a little reference point because we named our 3 earlier. We both had the Athletics. Why are you the Athletics? It's just always been a weird name to me. And I had the Padres because I get San Diego. You're in Mexico, like kind of in that. You're on like that border where you can get away with a Spanish team name.
Yeah.
But your name is the San Diego Dads. You couldn't come up with any other Spanish word to use there. So
Their
that's like an
mascot
example of what we use.
has to be one of the worst mascots in all of sports. The Fryer guy.
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
guy. Yeah, that's a bad one.
Not
I feel like all the out west team names are weird.
Yeah, for sure.
You got pretty much any of them. Mariners.
Yes.
Trying to think. I'm off the top of my head. I can't think what a Mariner is.
It's like a sailor, I think.
Okay, I guess Seattle makes a bit of sense.
Like, how about the St. Louis Cardinals and the Toronto Blue Jays? Like, there's Blue Jays and Cardinals everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of birds ones.
Or
I had Kansas City Royals because like there's nothing royal about Kansas City. Like,
right. Or the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh Pirates were another one you had. They're a landlocked city. That was your argument, Zach. And I agree with that argument.
That's a good one.
So those were ours. Do you have any others you'd like to point out? Mariners was a good one. I like that one. That was one of my honorable mentions for sure.
Yeah, all the out west teams that came late, I guess. People always get pissed that the Lakers are called the Lakers because like they're from Minneapolis.
True.
In basketball.
All right, Tuma. Well, thank you for joining us. And by the way, before you leave, I want to say that you have officially earned the title of official Rockies correspondent. You're our Rockies correspondent. Anytime we get into a little Rocky talk, we're going to have you on. You're also going to be our backyard baseball correspondent. So we want to congratulate you on that new title.
All right, man. Sounds good. How much that pay?
I'll be in touch with you about that.
Okay, yeah. We'll do it again soon, all right?
All right, man. Take it easy. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, so that was Tuma. Too Much Tuma. You can follow him at Too Much Tuma. I think he gave the link to his blog in there and everything, so everyone check that out. Our new Rockies correspondent. So now I guess we have 3 Rockies guys, and he's our backyard baseball guy too. So anything backyard baseball pops out, we're gonna give Tuma a call.
Yeah, you can never have too much Tuma. Need to have him on.
No, we're having too little Tuma right now. We need to have more Tuma. We're going to end the show with duds, and then when you're hot, you're hot. So let's start off with our duds of the week. Zach, you go first.
Yeah, my dud of the week, pretty simple. This guy, with Barstool and Big Cat's help, he kind of rose to this amazing status, celebrity status, but his numbers aren't backing it up this year, and I'm sick of people calling him this elite hitter. Kyle Schwarber. I mean,
oh yeah, that's right.
This guy was coming back from injury. He was thought to be like the Cubs' next coming, like their guy that will hit 4th in the lineup and be there every day. He's hitting 174, which is it has to be the worst in the majors for a full-time starting player. The Cubs have cut his playing time significantly. They brought up Ian Happ, who's taken a lot of his at bats. I don't know what's going on with him. It's not that he's striking out a lot. He's just not making good contact. He reminds me of a softball player's swing, so I think that's why his average is so low. His plate discipline's not good either. So my dud of the week is Kyle Schwarber having a terrible season.
Yeah, I have a confession to make. I almost put Schwarber on multiple duds of the week in the past couple weeks, and I was too afraid to do it because he's so beloved by everybody.
That's what I'm saying. He is.
But he's really, he's underperformed to say the least this season. I don't know how much of that has to do with the injury that he had last year. I really don't think it has anything. I think he's just struggling. That's all. He has the power. He's hitting bombs. His power especially has been on the rise this past month. He had a grand slam, I think, a couple weeks ago. So, but overall, he's really been struggling. So that's a good pick for dud of the week. Mine's a team. My dud of the week is a team. It's the New York Yankees. A miserable trip out west. As you mentioned earlier, they got swept by the A's. They allowed the Red Sox to tie it up in the division with their poor performance out west. So New York Yankees are my duds of the week. And now they got to deal with the this Torres injury too. So not a good week at all for the Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees are like the hottest team in baseball, and all of a sudden they go out to Oakland and they just piss down their leg, which is not what they've done all season. Their starting pitching is a huge concern. Tanaka his ERA is almost in the 7 range, which is I mean, that's their ace. So if he's not good, they're in big trouble.
Judge and Sanchez can only take them so far. They need the rest of that team to really carry them. That rotation, I've been like all along about them. The Yankees, the Red Sox are performing well against the Astros, the best team in baseball in the last series. Meanwhile, the Yankees are getting swept by the A's. That speaks to how bad it's looking for the Yankees right now. So they're my duds of the week. And we will leave off with when you're hot, you're hot. My pick is Anthony Rizzo, kind of on opposite end of the spectrum as his teammate Schwarber right now. Got thrown into the leadoff spot by Joe Madden, and he is killing it in that spot. His first ever at bat in the leadoff spot was a home run. Then his next at bat in the leadoff spot was a home run. And then his next one, he almost had 3 consecutive leadoff home runs, but the third one got taken away from him, which I thought was just hilarious, but also shitty at the same time because I wanted to see Rizzo do it. I'm a big Rizzo guy. So he's absolutely murdering the ball since being in the leadoff spot. So that's my when you're hot, you're hot. Yeah,
like Schwarber, he's so beloved. And I think the Astros started this trend of putting like a legit power hitter with a little bit of speed in the leadoff spot. And I don't get the Springer thing. Like, they say he has 7 leadoff home runs. It's like, yeah, he's not a classic leadoff guy. Like, he's a home run hitter. He should have that. He should have that record. Like, just based on his power, he's gonna hit 30 to 35 home runs this year. So that's a good one. Yeah, the Cubs they're struggling to get over that 500 mark though. So
keep an eye on the Cubs. That's weird. The NL Central as a whole is just shitty.
Yeah, my when you're hot, you're hot. Tuma kind of stole my thunder. Oh. The NL West.
It's the division.
The division is hot right now, red hot. As Tuma said, I mean, I don't look at the schedule that far in advance, but Tuma did. That's why we have him on. Rockies, Dodgers, and D-backs, they're all playing each other. So, we'll see who rises to the top of these. But I see all 3 teams making the playoffs right now, in that the Dodgers are the second-place wildcard team, and they have a 9-game lead in the wildcard right now. So I don't see any of those teams dropping off that much. So I see them all making the playoffs. This NL wildcard race is almost over in my mind, in that the Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Rockies, they're all going to make the playoffs. It just depends on what order they're going to finish in at this point.
That's why I was saying this playoff field is going to be insane. It's going to be one of my favorite playoffs personally in a long time because and probably the same for you because of how much we just love the NL West. Finally, they're going to get some shine. And what sucks, though, is that ESPN or like Fox, they're going to air these games and be like, let's take a look at like the Rockies, and they're going to act like they've just been following them all season. And then it's going to be like, no, you haven't. You didn't care until they started winning like 90 games. So that's a little aggravating, but whatever. Hey, I mean, I'm glad that they're, I guess, quote unquote, mainstream now.
Yeah. And the surprising part is like, there's 3 NL West teams that are going to make the playoffs, and the San Francisco Giants aren't one of them. And they've probably been the class of the division.
And I love that more than anything. I hate seeing the Giants succeed. So I don't know why either. I don't know where that comes from. I think it's just because of how many times we've had to see them in the playoffs. I'm just sick of Bumgarner. I'm sick of the Giants. So I'm glad other NL West teams.
Boring team. Buster Posey. When Buster Posey is the face of your franchise, you're boring. Sorry.
Let me leave off on this little stat here. Madison Bumgarner, he's been out since April 19th. He's 3rd on the Giants in total WAR. That's the stat I'm going to leave off on. The Giants stink. Mark Melancon stinks.
Dud.
So that's where we're going to leave off here. Zach, you got anything else?
No, I just can't believe Tuma was relying on Mark Melancon. I mean, that was week one of the podcast. We called him a dud. Obviously, Tuma took him a while to lead on, but Mark Melancon's a dud. Always will be.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can trust Tuma, to be honest, now that I've found out that he has Melanson that he's relying on his fantasy team. Melanson has 4 blown saves this year, and all of them have been so traumatic for him. So, I mean, that's Melanson. We told you from the beginning he's a dud. We told you from the beginning the Rockies are going to be nasty. So, I don't know. Maybe listen to us. And on that note, we will see you guys later.
Peace.